Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. South African platinum mining company Anglo American Platinum is selling its Rustenburg Platinum mining and concentrating operations to Sibanye Gold for at least 4.5 billion rand. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer tells us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
Can you provide some background into this deal and what it means for the companies in future?
Yes, so this is, the deep, dark and dangerous world of Rustenburg operations, plus the concentrator being put on the market because Anglo American Platinum decided that they wanted to stick to less conventional type of mines that had potential for mechanization, that were less labor intensive. So they said, some time back, that they were going to package these conventional mines and they would either sell them off collectively or separately, or they'd put them all onto the market and allow the market to have another option in mining. Well, I think the best outcome has come about. It seems to be the fairest outcome, and I think the best outcome for South Africa, because you see that the purchaser does not have to pay out this full 4.5 billion right away. It pays out 1.5 billion in over 3 years. It pays out the rest from cash flow, from free cash flow. And if there's not that free cash flow, they get up to 800 million over those 3 years to help them along. So they're protected in the downside, in the short term. If there's downside risk, Sibanye is protected. If there's upside potential, then Anglo American Platinum also shares in the benefits. So I think it has really been a win-win, and I think the Department of Mineral Resources are going to probably look on it kindly, because it's a worry, when your conventional mines get put up for sale. And it's fortunate that Sibanye under Neil Froneman has tremendous expertise in conventional mining. And also they're able to cut the costs in these situations. As you've seen, when they took over goldfields, Driefontein and Kloof and Beatrix, and they've also got surface treatment works, they managed over a 2-year period to cut those costs down by 20%. So they're hoping that they can do the same. And they've come through with an early sort of indication that conservatively they should at least improve the cost structure by about 10%. You could see that the market liked it. At one stage the shares of Sibanye, in a short period soared like more than 10%. And you also saw it was a good deal for both companies, in that the shares of Anglo American Platinum also rose on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And just from the body language, of the people on the stage, I think there was a bigger picture here. They were wanting to do something bigger for South Africa. And one of the interesting things that came out of it was revealed that there's been a long search in South Africa for a mining champion. The ANC is saying we need a mining champion. And the Department of Mineral Resources, the minister, has also been calling for someone to really champion the cause of mining, because we don't have a diversified major on our stock exchange, which is ridiculous. With the main London listing of Anglo American, it's hurt our exchange quite badly, and BHP Billiton also, chopping off part of with South 32. And so we need a new thrust. And it was interesting that Neil Froneman said, I've put my hand up. I've been to see the government, and I've been to see the ruling ANC, and I've seen them together and I've seen them separately. And I'm saying to them, I'm putting my hand up to be your champion. And although I'm called Sibanye Gold, if we get this platinum deal, I'm already producing uranium. If we get the platinum deal through, I'm now, becoming diversified. We will change that to Sibanye Resources, and we will look to be a diversified major. Now that is just what South Africa needs. When Mark Kutafani came here, he said, "What? This is crazy." He came in from Australia to deal with Anglo Gold Ashanti at the time, and he said, "This is ridiculous. You've got such a great culture here for having a massive, big champion mining company. Where is it?" And he said at the time that he would do it because already he was partly diversified, because you had Anglo with uranium, and then in their South American operations also copper. So he was saying, look, why don't we do something special here? Well, of course, he was eventually headhunted to go into a diversified major, and now we see Neil Froneman. And I don't think there's anyone that can deal with underground mining like Neil Froneman and Sibanye. And it's interesting that the new platinum setup, is going to be headed by Chadwick Bissett. So you've already got, previously disadvantaged South Africans in top positions as a CEO. We haven't had that before. So it's some good moving.
Now, as you said, this does make them a diversified major. What sort of potential could this have for their future?
Well, I think we need to get we need that gravitas again. We have heard some emotional statements coming out of the ANC saying, there was a radio show a couple of years ago, and the talk was of Anglo American, and the Secretary General of the ANC came through, Gwedi Mantashe, and he said, hey, he used to work for that group. So he's saying, hey, this is not on because this is our company. And Susan Shabango used to say, this is our company, but it's actually not. Listed in London, it's drifting away from us. So you need to now say, what is going to be next? Can we get some big diversified major or majors going? Yes, we've got the minerals and resources. We need a lot more concentration on it, though. We've lost a lot of background. We've lost our research through Comro. I believe I heard the other day that they were thinking of harvesting Comro. All that they inherited, apparently they want to sell the land even. So,
wow.
That is crazy if we're going really backwards, because this was a very strong point here, and we had a lot of research backing and development backing, and we need to restore that.
And I suppose now's a good time to go into platinum because it's low.
Yeah, the time, you don't get in when it's high, because then you'll pay an arm and a leg. As we see now, with the price low, there's sensitivity. There's willing buyer, willing seller. And the seller was also under pressure from its shareholders saying, you said you'd sell this, now are you going to be able to? And it's proved that it can in difficult circumstances, so it's got a few brownie points. And then the shareholders of Sibanye obviously like this. And I think what they listened to when they presented as well yesterday was very convincing.
And I see now also the sale of Union is back on.
Yes, so Union was packaged into that, and they also want to sell their interest in Pandora and Bokoni. But the idea was that, look, let's crawl before we start walking,
to run.
and running. So let's get this one first. I think it was more palatable for the shareholders to have a bite now around the Rustenburg operations, which is substantial. It makes Sibanye immediately the fifth largest platinum company if this deal goes through. First, it's got to go through the competition authorities and then the Department of Mineral Resources.
Now, what about potential job losses in BEE?
Well, I think it was made clear by Neil Froneman that those 6,500 jobs are safe, and that he did not intend to reduce that, except perhaps through natural attrition. He said unless the market changes, radically, but as things stand now, no job loss. So that was a good sound. It'll also appeal to the government when they start having to approve this.
And BEE prospects?
And he also said he's not going to claim any credit from Anglo American Platinum. They do have black economic empowerment at different levels, at high level. He was saying, no, this particular asset has never actually had a BEE, and although he's in favor of the principle of once empowered, always empowered, he's not going to, and there are some questions around Sibanye's own situation because they believe in that once empowered, always empowered. So while that debate goes on, that's the way they'll stay. But he's not going to say to Amplats, we are the BEE credits for this. No, he's going to go into it holus bolus, and again he's going to invite worker shareholding, community shareholding, and then also try and bring in some of the bigger guns, the Royal Bafokeng holdings and the Bekhatla sort of company that is now growing closer to that sort of level of Royal Bafokeng, and get them in with shareholdings.
Well, it's really good news. Thank you very much, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Shannon.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.